VC, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. It is a Sunday morning here. What date are we? We are the 15th of October. It's supposed to be spring. It is very windy and cold and rainy. Typically that happens here in New Zealand. In spring, usually it's not very nice. And in fact, it's not as cold as winter, but it's more erratic. And that's just because we're on a small island. There's always a lot of rain, a lot of wind. And then as soon as it gets to sort of mid-late November, it drops off completely and we have summer. So we never really have a proper spring here. Anyway, I've got some time, so I thought I'd just sit down and do a video. It's kind of impromptu, a little bit unplanned. Might be light on details and facts, but yeah, here we are. I just thought I'd sit down, relax, have a cup of tea. I hope you don't mind the slurping. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag, this video. I've got some records to show, some things to talk about. Yeah, we'll just see what happens. But I guess as you can probably see, the name of this video is something along the lines of the curse of the inbox, or my vinyl inbox, or something like that. Just because I've made a change in my listening habits sort of in the last month or so. So normally that small box there, I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, is normally my inbox where my new arrivals go into. And it's been like that for, 7 or 8 years. And I find that it's a curse, because what I'll do is I'll bring things in, listen to them, and file them away, and then by the time I finish with those, new arrivals come in and they go into the box, and really all I'm doing is just listening to that new arrivals box over and over again, and then filing them into the collection. And then I do listen to other things here and there that I pull out, but the rest of the collection doesn't get anywhere as near as much love and time as it deserves, because I've got some killer records. I can say that's my collection. I love my collection. I love my records, but they don't get anywhere near as much love as they should do. So instead of committing to just not buying records full stop, I've decided in the meantime just to scrap the inbox and file everything away. And even if I buy something, I'll give it maybe 1 listen or 2 listens and just put it straight into the collection until I feel like pulling it out. And we'll see how that goes. So that's been going for a month now, and I've just been really going deep in the collection and pulling out things based on what I've been reading or what's been inspiring me, especially in the VC. I don't really have a system anymore, which is really nice and freeing. And it seems so silly to be doing such a rigid formula for so long. It feels, I don't know, well, how do you guys manage that sort of thing? I know lots of people do have inboxes or recent arrivals. Do you also feel like that's, it just becomes the routine of listening to your new arrivals? And I guess I didn't help myself, because I make these videos, I make my recent vinyl finds, so therefore I feel like I have to listen to them so I can express my opinion and talk about what I want to listen to, how I feel about the records that I'm showing you guys. So it kind of just became a bit of a a repeat circle of things. But yeah, that's kind of, just let me know what you guys do or think, or how long do things stay in your recent inbox or whatever before you file them away. Do you even have one? That sort of thing. So basically with that in mind, that may mean it's the end of my vinyl finds videos, which I have been doing as kind of like my main video thing for 10 years in the vinyl community, and that's kind of been my main focus. So I'll probably do some sort of recent spins thing or something like that going forward, but I want to try something different. I've rebranded the channel. Why not scrap the main format of my videos? So we'll see what happens. So in terms of what I've been listening to lately, I've kind of been really inspired from a few different sources, and they've all kind of come together in a bit of a melting pot. Firstly, I've been really inspired by Dom over at SeekingaThread's videos. I just look at that stuff and yeah, it blows me away. Such an amazing collection, such a deep knowledge. Super knowledgeable. Yeah, he's been showing lots of really interesting stuff on the Kranky label and Drag City and bits and pieces of New Zealand stuff that I know he's a big fan of. So that's been really inspiring. So I've been pulling out that sort of things. And then Fred's videos too. I think Fred did an amazing slowcore response video. So I've pulled out a couple of things that I hadn't heard in a while from that. So both their videos lately have been informing my listening. I've kind of dug out a lot of stuff that I haven't played in a long time. And then kind of at the same time of that, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going down to Dunedin in the South Island for a experimental and noise music festival, where a lot of the bands that Dom has mentioned or talked about are playing. You've got the legendary free noise group, the Dead Sea, Roy Montgomery, who Dom showed scenes from the South Island for in his last video, or maybe it's 2 videos ago now by the time this goes out. And Surface of the Earth, who I absolutely love, just a really dark, dank drone thing. He also showed that record ages ago. And there's a whole bunch of other things that I'm not super familiar with, or names that I know but I can't describe the music. But those are the 3 big ones for me. I'll put a list up here of the people who are performing. But yeah, this happens kind of like every 4 years, and it's kind of like the noise and experimental festival in New Zealand and probably in this part of the world. I've been to it before. Long-time viewers might have seen a video I made a long time ago. Yeah, absolutely amazing. You know, there's free jazz, avant-garde compositions, just pure noise, free noise, droney rock things. It's kind of all in there. So it's a 3-day festival, kind of held over 4 days. But yeah, I'm really excited. So that will be in 2 weeks. So that's kind of tied in with what I've been listening to a lot lately. And then the third thing is I've just finished this wonderful book here, Our Band Could Be Your Life. Scenes from the American Indie Underground, 1981 to 1991. Now, I know a lot of these bands, and I'm a fan of a handful of these bands, but my knowledge of this stuff was clearly lacking, and still is. There's a lot of stuff I don't really know. I guess in terms of my musical knowledge, when I was in my youth, I really went hard on UK punk and UK post-punk, and I ignored a lot of what was happening, a lot of this US stuff, mainly because I grew up in the UK and I moved to New Zealand, so I kind of, there was names I knew, but a lot of these bands I didn't dig into until a bit later. Like Mission of Burma, Minutemen, Black Flag, Husker Du, Minor Threat, Replacements, Mudhoney, Fugazi, Sonic Youth, Butthole Surfers, Dinosaur Jr. Lots of big names in here. I'm obviously a fan of quite a few of these bands already, but there's, bands like the Minutemen, I know who they are and know kind of, I didn't know a lot of the backstory of a lot of these bands, but yeah, this is really brilliant. So I've kind of been back on things that aren't jazz or aren't funk or aren't reggae or aren't soul or aren't krautrock or cosmic, but back in things that sit more on the rock side of things. Anyway, so that was a lot. Gosh, I'm really sorry. How much rambling was that? I don't know. Way too long. I'm sorry. 10 minutes. So yeah, I was playing this earlier this morning in preparation for going down to the festival in a couple of weeks. This is the Dead Sea Clima Est Mort. The title references the band's Cat, who passed away around the time of recording. For anyone who is a fan of The Fall, you may sort of recognize this cover is a bit of a takeoff or a rip-off of that, with the fonts and the live at thing here. This is recorded on the Silk Breeze and Xpressway, on the Silk Breeze label from Philadelphia and the Xpressway label run by Bruce Russell of the Dead Sea from Dunedin. famously, this is recorded live, but it was recorded live to a one-man show, basically. Tom Lax, the founder of and owner of Siltbreeze, basically flew out to Dunedin to see these guys before he signed them, and they put on a concert for him, and he was the only person in the audience, and this was a recording of it. But yeah, fantastic. If you don't know this band, I guess they call themselves Free Noise, but it's just like, imagine taking a rock song and then just squishing it to a pulp and stretching it out and then microwaving it and then I don't know. It's just guitars, bass, really simple drums, all just smished up and expanded out. Very strange, very unusual. It's still very abrasive. But yeah, they kind of hit this zone, and when you get it, it's kind of amazing. Like I can't explain it. They're one of those bands that either you get it or you hate it or you love it. And I'm not in the mood for it all the time, but when I am, they can be really special. So yeah, I was listening to that one. I also pulled out this Surface of the Earth record, which I mentioned earlier. This is a really beautiful, dark kind of drone album. Lots of scraping, dark, slow-moving pieces. Really beautiful. This is a reissue that came out a couple of years ago. Absolutely fantastic. On Thin Wrist Recordings. This was recorded in Wellington here in 1994 and 1995. I also pulled out a couple of 7 inches. After I watched Dom's video, where he mentioned Drag City, I pulled out this really beautiful 7 that I have called I Hear the Devil Calling Me, which has almost like a greatest hits bands of this sort of scene out of Port Chalmers in Dunedin. Dallas the Galbraith, Handful of Dust, Peter Jeffries, Dead Sea, Gate, Dadamar. This is absolutely wonderful. Amazing artwork too. This is still really cheap, I think. So if you buy 7s, this will be a really good introduction to the scene, the Xpressway scene down in Dunedin back then. Really wonderful. That's on Drag City. And this is an amazing Xpressway compilation called What's That Noise? This kind of blew my mind when I first heard it. This is on the Xpressway label. Terminals, Dead Sea, Carter Jeffries, and Alistair Galbraith. The Dead Sea track that's 1:10 on this thing is fucking amazing. Really wonderful. What's That Noise? Fantastic. So then I kind of I think Dom was talking about Labradford a while ago, and I was playing this one yesterday again on Kranky. This is the first record is it their first record? By Labradford on Kranky 1996, I want to say. Beautiful, ethereal, dreamy. I remember I was reading about this album and someone described it as snow falling on rusting metal, which I thought was a really beautiful visual. It kind of feels 96, there we go. Very floaty, very beautiful, very relaxing. Really minimal vocals on this one. Yes, wonderful. Where are these guys from in the US? I mean, obviously Kranky is from Chicago, but I don't think this band is from Chicago. For some reason I want to say... No, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. Next, I pulled out this record that Fred switched me onto many, many, many years ago. This also came out in 1996 on ThrillJockey. I don't know how to describe this. He told me a long time ago it sounds like post-rock with a country twinge, and I kind of understand that. I really love this record. It really blew me away when I first heard it, and I've had this for you know, about 5 or 10 years now. Yeah, really wonderful. This is just called Directions in Music. Look at that cover. Isn't that fantastic? Yeah, this was going down a treat the other morning before work. Yeah, very nice. Let's get through these. The other weekend, I impulse purchased, I mean, you could say repurchased, the fancy audiophile copy of this record by Slint here. I used to have a weird bootleg, kind of shitty copy from like 2006 or 2005. And I sold it off a while ago, but I saw this in a store, and I kind of was like, I really should have a nice copy of this one. So, yeah, this record, everything's to be said about this record. Amazing. Whatever they did, I think this was been remastered and re-engineered. Anyway, it sounds fucking fantastic. It sounds so wiry, and I don't know. I hadn't heard it. Like, I've listened to this album a lot over the years, whether that been on my old crappy vinyl copy or on digital. But yeah, this it really sounded fantastic. So if you haven't got a copy of this or you're interested, I can highly recommend this audiophile reissue. Hang on, what does the sticker say here? 180-gram LP, 12-page booklet, original album remastered from original analog master tapes, by Bob Weston, forward by Will Oldham. 180-gram black vinyl. Yeah, comes with this really cool booklet with some really beautiful photographs. This is on the TouchNGo label and originally came out in 1991. Sorry, I'm waffling a bit. And then I decided to pull out this record here. I picked this up earlier in the year. This is the Frigid Stars LP by Codeine. This is like a new reissue, but it has been reissued, I think, like a couple of times now. Fantastic. D, Gravel Bed, Second Chance, Cave In, really fantastic. Just grim, but amazing guitars. Like, the amount of tone and texture on this stuff is fantastic. This really hit the spot when I was playing this a few weeks ago. Yeah, fantastic. I will say I am not an expert on this band at all, and I've kind of been aware on and off for years, and I thought I'd give this a crack. And this is going to sound terrible, but I was listening to Spotify on random. It was early last year, and a track of this came on, and I was like, this is fantastic. And I kind of added it to my list to get one day. And there it was. So yeah, Frigid Stars LP, Codeine, originally came out in the 90s. I'm sorry, who cares about the date, really? Do we really care? Oh yeah, it's on some fantastic splattered vinyl. Dour, depressing, sad. It sounds very depressed, but with some really wonderful guitar tone and texture and power to it. Fantastic. I then kind of went down the Red House Painters rabbit hole a bit. This is probably not one that people talk about a lot, but it is my favorite Red House Painters record. I am a big fan of them. I've seen Mark Kozlik a few times now. But yeah, this one always has really spoke to me the most. It came out in 2001. It's probably not their most recognized. On Sub Pop, the hit of Void, Between Days, and Cruiser are absolutely beautiful. Yeah, 2001. This is very much in the same vein of the other albums. A little bit cleaner, probably, I would say. A little bit more polished, but yeah, this is the one that is for me. Old Ramon, however you want to pronounce that, Old Ramon. Yeah, fantastic. And then, in terms of, so when I look at my discogs and I look at my want list and I go back to when I first created a want list, you know, going back kind of probably 9 years now, the second thing I ever added in there was a pressing, the original pressing of Sun Cool Moon's Admiral Fell Promises, which is far my favorite Sun Cool Moon release. And it was immediately kind of like a $200 record, and it has been for years. And then just completely by accident, I don't even know how I spotted it, I saw that a small label called Near Mint in the US have repressed it. And kind of my heart jumped out, and I had to grab it straight away. This is really wonderful. It's Mark playing mainly with a classical guitar, fully acoustic. He's singing. It's really, really beautiful. Really heartwarming, amazing guitar playing. He's definitely doing his classical style here. Third and Seneca, Half Moon Bay, Allison is absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's achingly beautiful is what I would say. So I'm really, really happy to get this. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I've almost put the trigger on buying an original pressing quite a few times, but it's such a quiet album that I knew it probably wouldn't be perfect. Anyway, this comes on a splatter vinyl thing. Quite cool. It wasn't cheap, but to get a really clean copy that sounds fantastic and sounds amazing is great. But yeah, I love this record. When I saw him play, he played a few tracks off this, and I felt very emotional when I heard them. I was playing Firehose Ifin. This record is my favorite Firehose record because I absolutely love the opening tracks. Sometimes it sounds like a Big Star. To me it sounds like it could be a Big Star song, but from 15 years later. Is that right? This came out in 87 on SST. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so these guys were mentioned quite a lot in the Minutemen chapter of the book I was just talking about. So yeah, really, really fantastic, really fun, so much energy, great bass playing. There you go, wonderful. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, so this one is very hard to describe, and I picked it up just as a blind buy. Not a blind buy, I knew who the band was, but I just picked it up because I couldn't leave this record behind. It comes in just a plain Hessian bag here with a Made in England sticker on it. I don't know if you can see this here, but this is by the noise experimental group Zoviet France from Newcastle upon Tyne in the north of England. I can't say I know a lot about them, but I know a few people who are really into them. I know Derek Higgins is a big fan, and I've seen a few people post their records around. I'm sure there's a few you know more about them than I do, but it was pretty cheap, and I was like, when am I ever going to see a record in a Hessian bag? So I grabbed it, and it's really fucking cool. It is basically noise and texture and sound for 45 minutes, but I really enjoyed it. I haven't listened to it once so far. Yeah, I picked it up quite recently. I can't give you any more insight into it, but yeah, that's the Zoviet France EP, and I always wonder what the hell was that doing down here in New Zealand. Very interesting. Yeah, records in Hessian bags, weird. Anyway, this is a bitch to keep clean. I had to give it a really deep wash because it was full of Hessian fibers all in the grooves. Yeah, so I'm basically going to keep the record completely separate to the sleeve. And then the last two, I just played these actually this morning before hitting the record. The two Camberwell Now EPs I haven't heard in ages. I was really lucky enough to pick these up cheap off a Japanese auction site, years and years ago. Camberwell Now being, I guess, I wouldn't call it the side project, but it's almost like the side project of Charles Hayward of This Heat. If you like the This Heat albums, I would definitely recommend these two EPs. Light in the Attic did put out a compilation of these two EPs a few years ago that sounds really good. But yeah, this is if you like this heat, but this is probably a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. There's some very silly songs, some slightly uplifting songs, some very... He has a really strange sense of humor, and there's a lot of sarcasm or light mixed with dark. Yeah, I'm just reading the lyrics here. Yeah, this is the Green Fingers EP and the Meridian EP. Came out on the Recommended Records label out of the UK. I think came out 87, and this one just came out slightly before that one. I could be wrong. Camberwell now, fantastic. So there we go. I hope that wasn't too long. I kind of didn't realize how long it would take to get through all those. That's what I've been listening to. That's kind of been my headspace at the moment. Yeah, really cool, really fun to revisit those. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the likes and subscribes and all the new subscribers too. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I am off to go and watch some football. See you later.